I'm joined here today by Khalil Rountree, who's set to fight Gokhan Saki at UFC 226 in July. Khalil, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. I can't complain. I'm alive another day, you know what I mean?
And so, like I said, you are set to fight Gokhan Saki. What are your thoughts on your opponent heading into this fight?
Yeah, I've been asked this question so many times. I mean, my thoughts are great. I mean, we're going to put on a good fight. It's just every opponent has something different to offer. And, at the end of the day, it's really just up to me and the effort that I put into training,
And obviously, we know that both of you guys like to stand up, and you're both heavy hitters. But how do you think you match up with him?
I mean, we'll see July 7th. I mean, I've never really fought anybody to that extreme. You know what I mean? So I'm doing what I have to do to make sure that I match up, perfectly.
And what was your reaction when the original booking fell through?
Man, I was pretty crushed because I was really excited for the opportunity, and just like once it happened, it was just kind of like, all right, well, this is what I do, and ended up signing for the next fight. So I couldn't really dwell on it too much, although it did weigh pretty heavy. But like I said, I just had to focus on what was next and hope that the opportunity came again.
And so obviously this fight did get rebooked. Did you know it would get rebooked, or was this just something that kind of snuck up on you?
I had a feeling that it would, but it wasn't 100% sure. So when it did, it was definitely an exciting feeling. And yeah, man, I just it's kind of one of those things where it got rebooked, and now it's like, okay, back to focus, back to being the best that I can be.
And do you think this is the biggest fight of your career so far?
I mean, I'd say so. I don't think that I've ever fought anybody with such a big following. So for me to go in there and fight him, biggest fight in my career, I'd say it's the most known opponent that I've fought so far, yeah.
All right, so unfortunately in your last fight, things didn't quite go your way. What do you think went wrong for you in that fight?
I saw a lot of technical errors. I didn't really, I didn't really focus too much on technique. I thought I was just going to go in there and knock the guy out. But that was just my own, just being very overzealous in the situation. Multiple factors in that fight, but it's new day, new opponent. Everybody has their bad days, and for me that was not my best performance, and so I just look back and correct my mistakes.
And so this fight eventually did get overturned into a no contest after he tested positive for steroids. What was your reaction when you found all that out?
You know what? I didn't have much of a reaction, which was crazy. A lot of my friends and stuff texted me the link, and and just like, oh my God, did you find this out? And I didn't really have a big reaction. I was pretty surprised, and then I just kind of like looked back and like, oh, I guess the guy didn't really get too tired, and I hit him with some heavy shots, and he didn't really it didn't really affect him, and he felt pretty fresh the whole way. So I'm not sure how it affected him or what made him better, like if he did it on purpose. I'm not really sure the case, but man, there's so many factors. I mean, with USADA now, we can take a supplement and it can be tainted. So I'm not sure. I don't know if he took it. I don't know if it was a tainted supplement, but things in this sport, I guess things like that happen. Some guys get caught with things, and I don't know, man. It's kind of like one of those things I can't really, focus too much on. It's like, if that's what happened to him, that sucks. But I've got to focus on how to get better for myself.
And so, obviously, it's not a loss technically on your record, but does it still feel like a loss for you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Feels like a loss because, like I said, there's just like some technical errors that I made. And at the end of the day, like, you know, if he were clean, you know, I still would have lost the fight. So no excuses, you know, just going back and like I said, correcting my mistakes. But yes, it does still feel like a loss, definitely.
And so you did get to the UFC through The Ultimate Fighter. How do you look back on your experience?
It was a good one. I definitely enjoyed being on the show and having the opportunity going in there at a pretty early stage of my career. Just it was one of those things where I'm like, wow, man! Like I finally got to where I wanted to be. You know, the goal, as well as a bunch of other people. So looking back on it, I mean, it was a cool opportunity, and you know, I'm still here today, and you know, I'm thankful for it for sure.
And we do know the show, it's tough on fighters mentally. Obviously, you can't have any electronics or anything. How were you able to deal with it mentally?
During the process of the show, I made a bunch of friends in the house. You know, that's the only thing that we had to keep each other entertained. You know what I mean? There's like, you know, we would just talk jokes or sing songs. I mean, we had to find any way that we could to stay entertained, Lucas. It was pretty cool. Definitely a different experience for me, but it was fun. Definitely memorable as well.
And so one of the big takeaways from the finale is obviously your famous "Shut Up, Mom." Are you still hearing about that today?
Here and there. Definitely not as much as when it first happened, but I still do get a few fans here and there that bring it up. So I guess it's one of those things that, you know, will probably never die.
And how did your mom react to that? I mean, did you get I don't want to say yelled at, but did she say something about it, or did she laugh it off? What was her reaction?
She didn't really say too much. She just knows that she was, you know, in fear. You know, she was right there in the front row just screaming, you know, like Andrew Sanchez, like, punched me in the face, and my mom's like, oh, please get up, like, tears coming down her face. And so that's the only thing I could hear. I couldn't even hear my coaches. So I'm just like, Mom, shut up. You know, it's like, that's the last thing I want to hear is my mom crying her lungs out while I'm getting punched in the face, you know. So she didn't really react. She didn't react too bad. Just she knew that she was just terrified. And I definitely apologize, though.
And so before the show, you were at 185. You did the show at 205. Now you've stayed at 205. Why'd you choose to stay at 205?
I'd say because weight cutting sucks. You know, it's like, you know, prior to fighting, I was a big guy. I mean, like 300 pounds. So after I lost weight, I did a lot of my amateur fights at 205. I did some amateur fights at 185. But as I started to mature, cutting to 185 got a little bit harder. So I did a fight in the RFA at 185, my last fight in the RFA was at 185, and it was just it was a pretty rough cut. So once I did 205 on the show, and I made it a few times in the weeks that we were there, I realized like how easy it was to, you know, either take a last minute fight or just like stay in shape. So yeah, I think that I carry it really well, you know, in training, and then I don't really have a big weight cut, so it's just one less thing to you know, to check off the list.
And so your fight is coming up in July. Have you started your camp yet?
Yeah, for the most part. You know, just like consistently training, and then it hasn't ramped up all the way. But yeah, everything's been started and moving smoothly so far.
And we do know you've worked with Anderson Silva in the past. Is he going to be involved with your camp at all?
Maybe. Maybe. You know, it's a big possibility, but I guess people will see if it ends up happening. I'm hoping. I'm hoping.
And so, is there anything in particular you're preparing for? I mean, you've got a kickboxer not really known for his wrestling. Is this a very stand-up heavy camp?
It's an everything camp. Like I said before, I have a lot of things to work on. I mean, I guess we all do, but I have a lot of things to work on, man. A lot of technical things, whether it be on the ground, whether it be standing up, wrestling, just everything. So my biggest thing is to just develop everywhere. And so, come July 7th, I'll definitely be prepared in whatever area that it's in. So that's kind of my focus right now.
All right, so I just have one more for you. How do you see this fight playing out come July?
You know what, man? Like, I'd say at this point, it's very early. Like, it's really early to tell, because I do have different tools and things that I can use. But it's gonna be a good one, man. That's all I can say so far. I could toot my own horn and be like, oh, I see myself coming out victorious, or whatever. But as I grow and develop, I realize that, like, no matter what I say, I still got to work hard. So I know that it'll be a great performance for me. I can definitely tell you that. There were some things that that I displayed in my last fight where I go back and look and I'm like, man, like, that's totally not me, And it's so yeah, there's some things to define, or not define, but refine and perfect. But it'll be a great performance for sure.